Hello, welcome. This is going to be the 29 books that I read in 2023. My goal for the year was to read 20 books, and I ended up reading 29. It was pretty good. I don't have all the books physically with me. I wanted to get them all, like from the library or something, but I did read a lot of library books and some Kindle, so there's that. But I do have quite a few with me physically, but this is going to be an order of when I read them. I'm going off of Goodreads. I think this is an order of when I read them. We're gonna see. So, yeah, welcome. And if I don't have the book physically with me, I'll put the picture up here. So the first few books are going to be a picture up here. So, yeah. The first book is The Source Code by Dr. Chuck Crisco. It's like a book on the law of attraction and manifestation. It was like 100 pages, and I read it on Kindle. I gave it 4 stars. It was such a short book. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. I just, like, it was short. I don't know. I read that. It was a first book I read this year. Next is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, 3 stars. Here's the thing. This is a thriller. It's like about a girl who gets hired to live in an apartment. She gets paid like thousands of dollars and she needs it. But if you've ever read Riley Sager, you know, stuff happens. It was a good twist. It was. But I'm really squeamish. So it was really uncomfortable, and it was good though. It was well done, and I wasn't really bored that much. I wanted to figure out what would happen. And I definitely wasn't expecting the twist, but I did expect the people. You know, like when they do the reveal of the bad guys, I did suspect people. Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I meant to read the whole series, but I didn't. 5 stars. I read that in like 2 days. I was in a major reading slump when I read that. It got me out of a reading slump, so that was really nice. The Oval Portrait by Edgar Allan Poe, which is just a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. 5 stars. I don't really know what else to say about it. It was good. I liked it. Sorry I keep moving around so much. I'm in a spinny chair, and if I'm in a spinny chair and I don't spin, I feel like that's illegal, so. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon, or Mark Hayden. I think it's Mark Hayden. Basically, it's about this kid who I think has some sort of autism, and he discovers his neighbor's dog has been murdered, and he decides to solve the mystery of the dog's murder, and he's like super obsessed with Sherlock Holmes and stuff. That brings me to my next book, A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. Not much to say. I think we all know the story, right? 5 stars. It was amazing, and I loved it. The Devil and Miss Prim by Paulo Coelho, or Coelho. 5 stars. I read it in like 2 days. Next is Hide by Kiersten White, which I gave 4 stars. This book, so many mixed reviews on this book, I swear to God, but it's really, I liked it. Here's the thing. When scenes in the book ended, it faded to black. Like, I don't think they ever directly said that, like, oh, then it faded to black. I didn't really explain that, but it was written in such a way where it's like, oh, okay, well, this faded to black. I like the book. 4 stars. Next, actually have a physical copy, and that is Life Lessons, Book of Genesis by Max Lucado. Darkly Dreaming Dexter is the next book. Oh wait, sorry. I gave the book 5 stars, which I feel like it's not fair to rate a book like that, but if it helped that much, which it did, 5 stars. Anyway, Darkly Dreaming Dexter by Jeff Lindsay, 5 stars. This is the book that I think it's Showtime series was based off of, the series Dexter. My dad and sister both loved that show, and I wanted something different, so I found the book at a thrift store. Next is The Hound of the Baskervilles, which I actually do have an edition of it. My sister has the edition that I did read. The one I read, it's paperback and it's small. This one I got off of Thrift Book. Point is, I read it, and 5 stars. It's Conan Doyle. I don't know what you want me to say. Next book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl and illustrated by Quentin Blake. It's fine. Next book. I was so excited about this. The Man Who Was Sherlock Holmes. Oh, highlighted. His mind was a great storehouse of assimilated knowledge in a series of time-proof compartments. The skilled workman is very careful indeed as to what he takes into his brain attic. He will have nothing but the tools which may help him in doing his work, but of these he has a large assortment, and all in the most perfect order. Point is, it was amazing. It was so good. Next, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. which I gave 5 stars. The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is a really beat up mass market paperback. I'm not a person who rereads books. This, I will be rereading it. Next, I read Bloody Jack by L.A. Meyer. 5 stars. I can't explain to you this book. Oh my god. Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, which is the first book in the Scott Pilgrim series by Brian Lee O'Malley, and it's like a graphic novel series. 5 stars. It was good. It was really, I don't know, it was good. Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. This book I started to read at a time of my life last year. It was around the fall, October, November, maybe it was a seasonal depression, whatever, but I got really existential. I mean, I'm always pretty existential, but I got really, like, into the whole, like, oh, we're all gonna die one day sort of thing. I know you know what I'm talking about, and I know every teenager goes through it, where it's like, oh, this isn't forever, and that sort of gets you. For a while, it did for me anyway. Anyway, I saw it at in my teacher's classroom, and I wanted to read it for a while, and so I started reading it. I was like, oh, this is a lot. 5 stars. I liked it. It was amazing. Short, simple. I love Mitch Albom's books. Like, he can, his books are so perfect. I don't know, there's something about them when I read them, I'm just like, it always teaches me something. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. I love these two authors when they co-write. They're so good. I haven't read any of their books, like, just their books separately. But yeah, 5 stars. It was good. I loved it. Again, in New York City or Manhattan, either way, same thing. In the big city, I really liked it. This follows two people, a guy and a girl, and they like unknowingly go on their first date, and they both came from bad breakups, but the entire book is one night out in New York City into the wee hours of the morning, and I liked it. It was really good. The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. This is not mine. This is the library's, and I need to return it really badly. Here's the thing. This book, I wasn't expecting it to be the book. Like, I was expecting something completely different. And when I read it, holy wow. It was so good, and I loved it so much. But it gripped me so much at the time when I was reading it, and I was still in that sort of headspace. I was like, this isn't forever. Imagine trying to hold the tail of a comet as it blazes across the heavens. It's burning your hands, eating you up, but there's no malice in it. A comet can't possibly know or care about you. You will sacrifice all you are or will ever be for that comet, because it suffuses every inch of your skin with a sweet itch you cannot scratch. And through its grace, you discover velocities you never dreamed possible. You will love that comet, but part of that love, a percentage impossible to calibrate, is tied to your inability to understand it. How can that comet burn as it does, pursue the trajectory it does? It confuses you, because the comet disguises itself as a human girl. But make no mistake, the girl contains fire to evaporate oceans, light to blind minor gods. If I could freeze her in the heartbeat where she skipped across the footbridge, carve her out of the time and fix her in the firmament, in the deepest chambers of my heart, I know that nobody, not another soul on earth, will ever be as purely astonishing as Dove Yellowbird was in that moment. A little bit of a trigger warning for grief, I'll say, in that book. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Oh my god, me and my sister read this. It was October, and so we went to the October store. No, we went to the library, and I saw this, and this is his newest release, and I was like, oh my god, I had no idea it was coming out. Actually, I did, from a YouTube video, but I completely forgot it existed because of other books. But I saw it at the library, and I was like, no way. So I got it. My sister actually ended up reading it first. She loved it, and I read it, and I loved it. We both really like Riley Sager. It was a good book. I loved it. For One More Day by Mitch Albom. This book I preferred over Tuesdays with Morrie, but not that I preferred it, I just enjoyed it more, I guess is the right way to say it, but they're both amazing. And one day he basically decides to go on a bender and just end it all. He ends up at his hometown where he grew up, and he doesn't know what's happening, but basically he encounters his mother, who had died 8 years prior, and he spends an entire day with his mother. And just, you learn things and it teaches you things, and that's the book. Like, I know that might sound like, okay, that's boring, but it's a really short book. I think it's like 233 pages. It was so interesting. Like I said, his books, dang, they're just perfect. I'll be reading it like, oh, this seems like it's gonna be boring, and I'll finish it. I'm like, that was one of the best books I've ever read. So yeah, 5 stars. Next book, have a physical copy, Alaska for Christmas by Jennifer Snow. I read this in November. Hear me out. I know, it looks like a Hallmark movie, but as a book, it looks like one that you would find at like a random gas station or a random Dollar General in the middle of nowhere. I get that. And here's the thing, it was sort of that story, like that Hallmark sort of vibe. The writing was good. This is about a girl and a guy. They basically hated each other since they were younger. Like, they got on each other's nerves. They couldn't stand each other. Yeah, Aaron is the really careful one, and Isla is a risk taker. Next one is Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. This is three short stories that take place, I think it's like Christmas Eve or something like that. I don't know. But they're all intertwined. My favorite one was definitely the first one by Maureen Johnson, and then John Green. John Green's one was really good too. Lauren Miracle's was my least favorite. I didn't like the main character at all, which I think was the point of it, but still, she was really annoying. 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was really good. Next is Anthem by Ayn Rand. I really liked this. It was really different. It's really short. I actually ended up reading this for school, for like an assignment we were doing. Wrong book to choose for the assignment, that's for sure. I know that now, but I really enjoyed it. Next is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, which I read last year in December, and I read it again in this December, because it always makes me feel like, okay, Christmas isn't that bad, because I'm not the biggest fan of Christmas, but it always makes me feel happy. So 5 stars, obviously amazing. This is by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan, same authors of Nick and Nora's Infant Playlist. Always a great book. Great book. Next is The Selection by Kiera Cass, the first book in the series. 5 stars. I read it in like 3 days. I really enjoyed it. It was good. Yeah. Next book is Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. That's literally all I have to say about this book. And lastly is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me and Other Concerns by Mindy Kaling. Oh my gosh, I loved this book. It was amazing and I loved it. So yeah, now I'm going to tell you what my least favorite book of the year was and my favorite book of the year was. Let's start off with the least favorite so we can end with a bang. Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. 1 star. I just didn't care about any of the characters, so obviously I didn't care about what was happening. It was one of those books where it's like, if one of the characters were hit by a bus, that didn't happen, but if one of the characters were hit by a bus and the other one had to like go visit them in the hospital, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, you know, it sucks, but okay. The best book I read this year is Bloody Jack by Ellie Meyer. This book, like I said, I can't explain it. It was, oh my gosh, the way it was written, the characters, I genuinely cared about what was happening. And yeah, any book. I mean, it was on the high seas, so there's that. But yeah, that was it. Those are the 29 books I read in 2023. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. There wasn't much, and the lighting's bad, but you know, we did it and it's done. So, yeah. Bye!